Alright, so we are now at the point where we just helped the Tenda villagers get over their shyness, and with that they were able to move this rock that was in our way, preventing our progression. But now after we've done this, the next area we go to is called the Lost Underworld, which is basically a place lost from everything, I guess, and it's filled with actual dinosaurs in the game, enemies at least. And when we get there, it's a pretty simple area for the most part, but you explore around, and then you get to this little different tribe of Tenda villagers that were not shy, so they're able to normally talk to you and all that. But in there, they have a interesting companion, I guess you could say. An interesting thing is as you've went past, before getting to the underworld, there were some talking rocks. This one specifically has some very interesting stuff to tell Ness about his journey, basically, what he has to do. I'll show the clip, and I'll be right back and interpret it. So, first off, when we meet this rock, he tells you basically how important it is that you understand what he's saying or whatever, and you actually should take notes, basically, as his info is necessary to complete the game and complete Ness's journey and such. First thing he says is, "You're the chosen one, Ness." Since the beginning of the game, you've already known this, basically, but fair enough. Chosen by who? I don't know, but he's the chosen one. Your destiny is not only yours, it's the destiny of the whole universe. I kind of find that strange in a way, because the way that we, or at least some of us, talk about how all of us in this realm or whatever, all of these energetic beings, soul beings and stuff like that we are interconnected in some way. Like, we're all, at least some people would say this, others would have different opinions on this, but say all of us are connected in some way, and that we all kind of come from the same source in a way. Our energy came from the same place to some degree or whatever. It all originated from the same place. So in that regard, we all come from the same place. So all of our destinies or whatever, all of our fates kind of all are the same to a degree. Like, at least with this case, it's saying that Ness's destiny is not his own, not just his own, it's the destiny of the whole universe. Like, you know, one could almost think of those concepts of solipsism and such, where they are the only person in the universe, everybody else is fake or whatever. So their destiny at the end of the day is the whole universe's destiny as far as they're concerned. I'm going more towards like, well, for one, this Apple of Enlightenment thing has said many times, we've been told many times that Ness and his friends are going to defeat Gygas, and that is at least what is being told. Like, you are going to win. You are going to defeat him. That is this destiny that is going to happen. So, in that regard, Ness's destiny is the fate of the rest of the universe in a degree, because the destiny, at least told by this Apple of Enlightenment and all that, is that Ness will defeat Gygas, is that Gygas will be defeated in some way, shape, or form, which will affect the whole universe in this regard. So, yeah, it isn't his own, because the destiny is what it is. Like, Gygas will be defeated, and Ness's destiny is to defeat Gygas. So, yeah, it kind of makes complete sense, like, almost in like a no crap kind of way. Like, yeah, his destiny is the destiny of the universe, because that kind of goes just hand in hand, is that he will defeat Gygas and Gygas will be defeated. That's like, yeah. There will be a time in which all of you in the universe will overlap each other. Now, as I was just saying before as I said before in the last video with the threads intertwining in the 10 to tea break part, that kind of little poetic saying that was there, is that this is kind of what this rock is saying, is that all of you in the universe will overlap each other. All of your fates, all of your destinies, all of you just in general will overlap at some point. One, that kind of makes me think of the idea, once again, where time doesn't really mean anything, or time is just a construct, and everything is like, you know, time can be whatever the idea of time can be manipulated or traveled or transversed, can go in every which way. There is no, like, linear time. So, in that regard, in any space in time, or any space in general, every entity, or whatever you say, anything can kind of overlap each other. There's no, like, that stupid rule from BS science with, I don't know what the rule is, if that even is a quote-unquote rule, but I would always remember, like, one piece of matter cannot occupy the same space within the universe or whatever at one time, and I think that's complete BS in this regard, because in one space of time is a construct or whatever. Time is not, like, time to a degree is not really real. So, yeah, things can occupy the same space and time. Same thing with, like, energy and waves and everything. They can occupy the same space, and in that regard overlap each other and such. So, yeah. And in this way, it's saying, like, everybody's fate, which is the fate of the universe or whatever, will overlap. I don't really want to give up that much of stuff that happens later on, because that's a whole nother video and everything. But I will say that there's a point where these heroes, you know, these characters, they are in a supposedly completely different not so much dimension, but a completely different timeline or whatever, and somehow they are able to communicate through time to people that are in the quote-unquote present time, and they are able to basically radiate, or whatever you want to say, transmit their energy through this, one could say the non-time, because time not really being a thing or whatever, like, it just gives even more credence to that. But in that way, it's like the quote-unquote distant past overlapping with the present at the same time, because, like, it's like, one would think to facilitate communication, they would need to be in the same general time or whatever, but in this case, that's not what happens. So one could say that there's just so much that can be discerned from that, because, like, all of their destinies and all that are overlapping in the same way that one could think that we all come from the same source or whatever, our true selves and everything like that, our true energetic selves come from the same source. Therefore, all of us would overlap to some degree, would all connect in some way. That's like kind of my messy way of interpreting this. And then he talks about basically he's just telling you that you need to go to all these your sanctuary locations, which at this point you most likely, just the way that the progression kind of goes in the story, you most likely skipped many of these, or a good few of them at least, if you weren't specifically going right for them. So he's telling you to do what you need to do, you need to go back basically and complete all of these, defeat all the your sanctuary guardians, and find your sanctuary locations. And he says that, they are spots which give you power. It allows you to realize all your skills. There was a monster that protected it. The monster was influenced by the power of the place. I would almost see that as, one could say, like the energy parasites or the minions or whatever you want to say. That kind of thing. They're influenced by the power of us almost, or what power that we radiate, or this place does in some way, that it's made from. You must reach all of the 8 power spots in the world. When the Soundstone records the melodies of all 8 power spots, you can finally see your world, which I'll just say it's this place called Magicant, but I'm not going to get too detailed into that, but it is basically a literal manifestation of Ness's being or whatever. It is like I said, I won't get too detailed into it, but it is almost what we say that we are creator beings and all that stuff, and this place is Ness's created reality, or it is a direct place that he goes to find the final part of his true power, his true self, and all that stuff. Like, to finally communicate with the real him, the true inner person, the true inner being or whatever, the true inner power, light. And when he finds all these 8 melodies, he is able to access this place. And then he tells you all the locations of these sanctuary locations. If you do not fail, you may upset Gygas's plans. I mean, I look at that because it's like, yeah, you may upset his plans, but basically everything has been saying at this point that it is your destiny, it is the fate. Almost as if they don't have faith to some degree that is the destiny or whatever that will be fulfilled, or just to give the player some feeling of urgency or tension or something like that, like, oh, we might fail, but in reality, this is the destiny that Gygas's plans will be foiled by Ness and his friends. And he says again, the time when the destiny of you and the whole universe will overlap. It is fast approaching, and, it is in the game sense, but it's also interesting because, at least recently, I don't know what this means. It might not really mean anything. It might just be the natural way of things in this realm or whatever, but since this whole thing with the beer bug, all that crap started happening, is, for me personally, I've been seeing, like, time, quote unquote, the perception of time or whatever has been accelerating like crazy fast, way faster than it ever was before, for me at least. Just the only, and one could say that in that way that stuff is accelerating. Like, one could almost definitely have some inkling that something is going way faster in some way. Something is going more streamlined. I can't say that like it's becoming more obvious for things. Like, people, I'm not going to say that more people are waking up, but I'm going to say that it seems like people that were going to wake up, maybe it has been massively accelerated due to some events that have happened recently, which could be a cause of the time going faster and such, or whatever, their perception of time going quicker. Because, yeah, like, for me, it was massively accelerated from this event where I realized the nature of this place, and as well as the nature of myself, what I really am and such. So, yeah, just one little sentence there, but definitely some very profound stuff that this interestingly just rock tells you in your Ness's journey here. So yeah, with that, pretty short video, but I think I got my point across for the most part, as I usually hope so. The next part I would probably go progression-wise right to what I was just talking about, Magicant, but in this case, in the game, you would usually just be like, alright, he told you to do this, that's the next thing you have to do, is find all your sanctuary locations now, any of the ones that you might have skipped, which, besides the first one, I'm pretty sure every single one you basically up to this point could have skipped. Maybe except one, I guess, but yeah, technically you could have. So you go back to all those, you defeat the Sanctuary Guardians for all of them, and you get all the melodies. Then you are able to access this Magicant world of Nesses. So the next video, I'm most likely going to showcase all of those Sanctuary Guardians, all of the Sanctuary locations, their names, what they might symbolize, if I could potentially try and figure that out or try and interpret that, as well as the Guardians themselves, and just basically everything involving those, and maybe the Soundstone as well. And then after that, the next video after that, I'll talk about Magicant. So the next video is probably going to be pretty long, a lot of gameplay just to show you these things, and maybe you can make your own interpretations of these things, these potential symbols and such. But, yeah, as usual, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.